It's Topic Thunder. It's Topic Thunder. Just acknowledging knowledge with no scholarships. It's Topic Thunder. It's Topic Thunder. Breaking everything down, tech to politics. It's Topic Thunder. It's Topic Thunder. We don't tell you what you want, we just give you what you need. It's Topic Thunder. It's Topic Thunder. News, brews, and views from these Chi-Town streets. Topic Thunder.
You heard the man they call Biz, ladies and gentlemen. It's Topic Thunder, and coming off a little bit of we had a Labor Day, and then I had some PTO and an important presentation I had to get. We're coming up that kind of a layoff, ladies and gentlemen. So welcome to Wednesday Thunder.
Yes,
and we appreciate you coming along.
And if you know anything, you long-time Thunderdome heads or whatever we call you, you know that if there's a bit of a layoff, that means there's been a build-up in some stories that Brooks has been wanting to get with us about. But there's been also a build-up with me on having to yell about things. So usually we come out fucking swinging after a hiatus, and I expect no different. I haven't seen any of the stories, really yet. I've coming into it blind, but I am ready to go. I'm excited to have the Thunderdome, and I pointed the right way. After a long hiatus, I wasn't sure if I was going to get it right, but it is right there next to us. So please, join the discussion. But I am rip roaring, ready to go, baby. I got my Mike Tyson shirt on. I'm ready.
Oh man, we're talking t-shirts. I've got my father got me this shirt when he visited Jerome, Arizona.
Oh,
yeah. My dad got me this massive cock shirt, and I'm sure he'd appreciate that I'm wearing this, but he's not watching the show.
He would not. Shout out to Dan, but he doesn't hear the shout out. Yeah.
But hey, ladies and gentlemen, what we were referencing when we point to our particular directions is the world's most dangerous chat show. We call that the Thunderdome, and you are part of the show, literally a part of the show, interacting all the time. And I guess we have a lot to talk to. Or talk to you about. The real Billy Wack is the first one to throw up the bolts in the zone, and let's just, since Wack's here, it's appropriate to crack a beer, and that rhymes, and that was not intentional. So folks, check this out. From a hometown brewery, one of the first ever, as far as I know, in the area, independent breweries from Revolution Brewery. This is El Jefe Loco, and I highly suggest it, especially this time of year, if you like a Hefeweizen, which is a German wheat beer. This is good stuff, man. And I'm gonna tell you right now, when Gigi likes a beer, it has a very nice, like, non-beer, very it's just good. When Gigi likes something, it's good.
Yeah, I mean, Gigi doesn't strike me as much of a beer drinker, frankly, and I don't say that in any sort of derogatory way. She's more sophisticated than that. She's way too sophisticated and smart to be drinking beer. Like, that's how I look at Gigi and I go, that's not a person. She shouldn't be drinking beer. She's way too smart for that.
Absolutely.
She's like something with more depth. She has to be, that's her style.
Little oomph. But Revolution has great beer, and I'm going to tell you what, I already know this one's that. What do we do? 5. Nothing can truly be perfect unless, but the sophisticated. No, sophisticated is not a stretch. You have sophisticated taste, my dear, and that's why you're my GG. But I will tell you right now, if you do like a Hefeweizen, I know there's Hacker Shore, and there's all the other ones you're going to see, especially this time of year. Find yourself an El Jefe Loco.
It looks like a Blue Moon.
This is so Blue Moon is a wheat beer, so it's the same type of like very light, very almost not necessarily sweet, but certainly not that beer taste, right? Goes good with a slight like
I can
orange
appreciate a Blue Moon every once in a while. I can't drink a bunch of them, but like 1 or 2 mixed in is not a bad idea. Blue Moon is.
I'm telling you right now, this is because it doesn't have that like long-term beer aftertaste. It almost has like the palate clears quickly. Like you kind of get the taste, and then it just kind of goes away. There's a little bit, but it's If this makes any sense at all, it's a small bubble taste.
Interesting. Okay.
It's not like a Miller Lite or something where like you could
Right.
see the bubbles, but I guarantee you, I could look at you right. I can tell you right now, the bubbles are floating in there, and that might be a little science esque, but that's what we do here. And actually, I've got some really cool. I got to really, folks. Before we get to all the nonsense and madness of me gloating about my first week victory in the football fantasy league, I a super cool story about water that yes, I won my first game in the fantasy league. I beat the Lockport Joes.
Not just beat down the Lockport Joes.
I may have had the highest
scoring. So I know you don't want to brag. You're not one to brag on yourself. You're just not like
not
that.
on my podcast. No, I would never.
But allow me to put you over.
Thank
you had
you.
the number one scoring team in the entire league, a 12-team league. Blew the Lockport Joes out of the water, despite the fact that the Lockport Joes had Patrick Mahomes and his 5 touchdown passes.
Patrick fucking Mahomes.
Yeah, you had Jefferson and Pitts and Pittman,
Josh Herbert, and the Ravens defense did me a solid getting 10 points. They had 17. But they gave up a couple touchdowns, I guess. But it was an awesome victory. It was actually my first time in a fantasy league like this. So yeah, the Lockport Joes.
Yes, that is legitimately
my team is Brooks Balls.
BAWLS.
BAWLS is a nod to the occasional drink you can sometimes find in odd places in America.
And after his first week performance, in which he carried my team to victory, and I got to put Lockport Joe over for this because he's the one that sent me this. My team name has been changed to the Protective Cups because I have Cooper Cup, and he went fucking berserk in the first game of the season and helped me to win. So.
And we'll be chatting about this because I think we should have a Topic Thunder League.
Ooh,
and it's too late. It's too late to do this year's football, but I was thinking just because it'd be more fun, just to double down on the nobody really knows what they're doing. We should try to find the fantasy hockey team, and just like everybody gets a fantasy. Nobody really knows anyway because the injuries and Patrick Mahomes can break a rib next week and be out 3 weeks or blah blah blah. But I think a Topic Thunder Sports League could be a lot of fun, to be honest with you, and a lot of way to maybe garner more interest, but that we'll leave that for the marketing department.
So, okay. I feel like I hate to do that. And I hate to take a sidetrack because I had something planned, but this is
we never do that on this show.
But I feel like people need to understand why your team name is what it is.
Oh.
I mean, are you okay with us playing this? To give some context here?
A little context to the balls, just to let you guys know, I have balls. I've got balls. Man, I've got balls. Somebody say that I don't have balls? That's an insult. I've got balls. I've got balls. I've got balls upon balls upon balls upon bigger balls. Because you know I've got balls. You know I've got balls. Because I've got balls. Oh, I've got balls. Well, I've got balls. Got 30 less pounds, too.
And that hair. Look at that hair.
I know, right? The plane and the geese are my favorite.
Balthazar.
Because I've got balls.
Oh,
Junko jeans. There it is, folks. There it is,
oh, a fucking amazing. Unbelievable.
Oh, and
Oh.
we've been teasing maybe bringing some fun videos and ideas, different concepts back over to the into the show because
Oh
again,
man.
I think I've said a couple of times we like to shed our skin a couple of weeks. So
Yes, for sure, for sure.
there's
Oh
stuff in the
man,
works. But hey,
that was good. That was spontaneous. That was totally spontaneous. That was great.
that was OBT era, Mike F and Brooks, ladies and
Oh man,
gentlemen.
that
Of
hair is
course,
amazing. What would
all
you do to
right.
have that hair back?
I I grow it.
So
I'm gonna throw.
so you can't. Oh,
Oh yeah.
great.
Sorry.
Congratulations, Brooks.
Sorry, pal.
Congratulations that you can grow hair, the same hair that you had, 20 years ago. Congratulations.
Almost 30 at this
Asshole.
point. Yeah, hey, look, my fantasy team's good. I still grow hair. What more
All
could
right.
you
Well,
want?
here. You know what? Let's bring everybody down. Let's talk about the rail
Oh yeah,
strike
what
and
more
how
could
that's
you
gonna
want? Well,
fuck
yeah,
everyone over.
let's ground everybody in, and I mean
Congratulations, Brooks.
ground.
You're gonna bring everybody down now. Congratulations.
Yeah, and I open with this, ladies and gentlemen. You heard the headline themes. We just went on a little bit of a tangent, but we've got trouble brewing, folks. And this Friday signals a possible strike by railway workers. And you might, on the surface, think, how does that affect me? Well,
Oh yeah.
let's consult this AP story from just today. My gosh. Car buyers might not get the vehicle they want on time. Commuter rail lines could see service disruptions, and shipments from everything from oil to livestock feed could be snarled. Those are just a few of the wide-ranging impacts that the walkout by U.S. rail workers would have on the country's industries and economy. A strike could happen if the railroads and unions can't settle their differences before an early Friday walkout deadline. Let me tell you right now before we get into it, because they actually specifically mentioned Chicago. Today, again, make it no secret, I work for a hospital in the city of Chicago. We got an alert today, a company-wide alert regarding this and regarding transportation to work. And basically saying, hey, look, it sucks. It has nothing to do with you. It's not your fault. It's not our fault. We still expect you to show up at work. Here are the commuter lines, because we'll get to it here, but Metro in Chicago could shut down 2 to 4 different lines. And we're going to talk about those because basically everything from the west all the way up counterclockwise to the lake is kind of screwed.
Dude, you're going to probably get it, but this couldn't come at a worse time. I mean, the timing of this is really poor for what is going on with the economy right now. We just didn't need this. Like, this is the type of thing that if we didn't have some sort of event like this or a natural disaster that, say, wiped out a bunch of boats that were floating around with goods, that are out floating around right now,
Right.
Something like that. If we could have avoided something like this, I think there was a navigation. I think we were going to get through this thing quicker than I think a lot of people anticipated. And the doom and gloom wasn't going to really be the doom and gloom that we thought it might be, right? This could spin this thing where where supply chain grinds to a halt again. And we already know what that looks like. And right now we can't fucking afford it, literally and figuratively.
Industry analysis expects about a $2 billion a day loss for the economy, which that's a generous number. And that's just a number. That's not talking about the human lives that are going to be affected by this. So the first thing, of course, the AP kicks off with in their article is the auto industry. Nearly all new vehicles will travel more than travel more than a couple hundred miles from the factory to their destinations are shipped by rail because it's more efficient.
Mhm.
Okay, you're not going to buy a new car. Okay, well, I guess in an economy that's suffering from rising inflation, maybe that's not such a huge big deal.
But it is though, because when there's no new cars, then people still need to buy a car, right? And so they buy used cars. But the supply of used cars is not that great either. So when the supply is short and the demand is high, in a capitalist society, what happens? The price of that good goes up by a lot. So if there's any limit, and working in the auto industry and very in tune with the ebbs and flows of the market and how many cars are in the market and what that does to the pricing of your cars. I mean, that is literally my job on a daily basis, is to watch that and make sure that my dealership's cars are priced, where they're supposed to be, and it really be in tune with it, right? So this hits home for me, and we really, any disruption right now, we're teetering on that edge, and that's why I'm saying, like, we're teetering on the edge, and any disruption is gonna throw things out of whack, and it's just gonna, it brings turmoil when we just don't need turmoil right now. If we could just get through some shit without some turmoil, that'd be great, but we can't seem to do that. But at the same time, man, I'm a union guy, right? And I believe in the labor collectively getting together and being powerful as a group and saying, we're not going to do this job that is obviously a very important job to our society as a whole. Pay us what we're worth, what we want, give us the benefits that we want, or we're going to strike. And I can appreciate that. I love that part of it, but at the same time, it is going to affect all of our lives. So it's like, I can understand people being mad at those people too, and being like, just get your ass to fucking work because it fucks with my shit. But you got to look at it different. You got to look at it through a different lens. We are, for the most part, we are all in the same class, the labor class. We don't own a business. We don't employ people. For the most part, most people listening to this, not everybody, but most people. And small business owners are in a different. They're more like us anyway. I'm talking when you get to large businesses where you're employing hundreds of people,
thousands.
Right. That's a different class of even entrepreneurs that you have to get to. But this is bad timing, and I'm ranting here. But let's get back to the story here.
So, as previously mentioned, Metra commuter rail service, which operates in Chicago, said on Wednesday it would suspend operations on 4 of its 11 lines on Friday if a work stoppage occurs. Some disruptions on those lines would begin after rush hour on Thursday. In Minnesota, the operators of a commuter rail line that carries workers along a densely populated corridor from Minneapolis to northwestern suburbs and towns warned that service could be suspended as early as Friday. In the Puget Sound region of Washington state, any strike would cancel the rail service until employees return to work. So you might not think, if you don't take the train, you're like, oh, no big deal. Here's where it's going to be a big deal. There are going to be more people on the streets. There'll be more people on the highways. If you're thinking like, oh, I don't take the train, I don't care, you're about to feel it. If it's not from, oh, look, the energy, oh, geez, oh my God, look at this. I think the number here was 5 million barrels of propane are traveled across each day. 300,000 barrels of crude oil moved by rail each day. Guess what that's going to happen to gas prices? And yes, Ben, you are absolutely right on this one. I will always side on labor, right? Mm-hmm. Because there are just a short handful of corporations that own these rail lines.
And Warren Buffett owned most of them, like a company that he owns, BNSF.
So
yeah.
Burlington.
Isn't it Warren Buffett? There was somebody. It's somebody with a big name.
Burlington North. The BNSF is Burlington Northern Santa Fe, and we should actually get Grandmaster B on the line because he's a railway expert. But that came of the merger of many companies that own all of these railways. First of all, why does a corporation own infrastructure of the United States?
Nobody can, because our fucking forefathers, when they were setting this fucking social experiment up, fucked up, and they allowed. That's why energy and fucking railways are not publicly owned; they're privately owned, and it's dumb. It makes no sense. We've talked about the energy companies and how they got no compete basically to go in, and you guys go in and put all the energy, you put all the poles up and you run all the lines, and then you basically own that area. And that's why your energy prices are what they are, because there is no competition.
That's why your Verizon bill is the way it is. Anything in that regards too. They mentioned retail, shipping goods, and you might not think that's a big deal, but people need clothes. People need goods and services in that regard, and you're not going to be able to get them. That includes think tuxedo rental. Think anything from trying to get jewelry or groceries at this point, right? Or I think they were saying livestock. So there's going to be meat shortages on top of everything else.
Right.
It is just insane.
Yeah,
that there are, and if you, I don't know if you watched the news about this. I've caught 2 segments on the news about this. They're framing it like, oh, these workers are going to cost the economy $2 billion a day. Bullshit.
Right. No, we have solidarity with these people. We have to understand that we outnumber them. We outnumber them. They need us to be successful. And if we all band together, we are more powerful than they are.
The only way they win. It's the only way they win, by fracturing us with stories and framing this particular item like it's the workers' fault. Really?
Yeah.
Really? That's why I get pissed off when when people rant and rave about the athletes making so much money. Like, really? That's what their employer's offering them. Mm-hmm. Separate yourself from that situation, because you can't.
And they're probably still underpaid. LeBron James is underpaid
criminally, career-wise. Michael Jordan. The modern NBA doesn't exist, and I think Michael V is still on this. We could talk about this in a separate show, but the modern NBA doesn't exist without Michael Jordan. Mm-hmm. Period. That's it. End of story. Paragraph. Boom. You move on from there. But the modern NBA started with Michael Jordan, with the glam, with the global reach. He made that happen. And he was criminally underpaid. And I remember when he got that 1 year, $30 million contract from Reinsdorf, people were like, what the hell? That guy's making this. But people were complaining about Michael Jordan making a percentage value of the Chicago Bulls for 1 year.
Right. Crazy. Yeah.
You're not thinking about this. You're just seeing a number and going, well, why am I not making that? Well, dumbass, you don't support labor. That's why.
Yep. And these guys, and from what I understand, I've done a little bit of reading into it, not a whole heck of a lot. I will cursory at best. So, but one of the things that they don't like, and one of the things that they're asking for, is their paid time off. The way that it is done on a point system, right? And so you have to earn points to earn time off, and then you also lose points when, say, you have a sick day. Right. And so they don't want to have a point system that they have to fucking, work by to get days off. And these are the types of old things that when employers had all of the power, they were able to impose these types of things where we're going to put you on a point system. And any point system that an employer puts in place is put in place so that you can't reach the benefit. Right. It's like going against the casino. You're betting against the house most of the time. You may win every once in a while, but you're never going to really, really win big against the house. That's just not going to happen. And so you have to understand that things are changing, and people are saying, wait a minute, we don't have to stand for this. Again, you're trading your labor for a wage. If we all get together and say, the wage that we're getting that for this is not enough, and none of us are going to take that job unless the pay is more, then they have to raise the wage. What works against us is these people that have this mindset that plays into it, which is, I'll take the job for less money and just prove myself, and hope to make more money down the line, right? And the employers are banking on those people, right? They have always been able to say, well, here's $7.25 an hour. You don't want it? Okay, no problem. There's 40 other people behind you that will take that job. If there aren't the 40 other people behind them in line, then they can't say, if you don't like it, kick rocks. That's the power that we collectively have if we show solidarity amongst the labor. If we show solidarity to these people, and this isn't the only story that we have regarding this week,
Yeah.
and that so let's continue the rant, but go with a different. This is the second story you've got
from Reuters. Understaffed and underworked, thousands. Let's repeat that number just to hit the gravity of this. Thousands of Minnesota nurses are going to go on strike. From 2 days ago on Reuters, some 15,000 nurses in Minnesota walked off the job on Monday to protest hospital understaffing that their union says has harmed patient care and exhausted healthcare workers as they negotiate a new contract with hospital executives. The strike, slated to last 3 days, described as Minnesota's Nurses Association as one of the largest in United States history, highlights the nationwide health worker shortage that has been exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic. The union says it has been negotiating a new agreement for more than 5 months and that nurses have been working without a contract for weeks, which is ridiculous because none of those executives would work without a contract, and those shareholders wouldn't accept a situation where their dividends were withheld during negotiations. So it's pretty ridiculous. Anyway, hospital executives have already driven nurses away from bedside by their refusal to solve the crises of staffing and retention in our hospitals. The union's negotiating team said on a statement, said the nurses were understaffed and overworked. They are.
right. Yeah, and this is not
They
something.
all are.
Yeah, absolutely. And so they're saying, okay, we're willing to do the job, but we want to get paid more to do it.
It's not just pay too, because we were just talking about PTO, and I know Aunt Chris is in the chat room, the world's most dangerous, and we thank her for that. But she was mentioning how even on a salary, she's got to clock in to accrue PTO. One of the more sadistic things that has ever happened in corporate America is the merging of sick time and vacation time into that mythical thing called PTO.
Mm-hmm.
Because they should be two separate things, and I'm in a situation where I know when people are accruing absences when they're sick and stuff like that. I'm keen to that in my position. It people don't understand it's a trap. It's a trap. It's a trap. But it is. It's a trap. Like one or two sick days turns in, and you're late a couple of days, and now you're starting in your first write-up, and now you're on this weird track. They got you by the cojones, the short hairs, right? Because they merged your sick time with your vacation time, even though those two things are very separate. Mm-hmm. And then those CEOs and those C-suite folks are all guaranteed their 6 to 8 weeks of their vacation and stuff like that. But people actually doing the work, and this cuts across every cloth, right? In corporate America, not just healthcare. That the people are actually doing the work, whether they're cleaning toilets or taking x-rays or managing the floor of a hotel or a concierge or whatever. They're doing the work, right? They're dealing with the hotel guests and patients and stuff like that. That it's terrible. So yes, these two stories are back to back for a reason, because let me tell you what, the healthcare thing, specifically speaking, it can't take much more. The system is being stretched to a point where there aren't enough people to staff hospitals. So when something happens, you're either going to wait a really long time to be seen, or you're going to die. And I'm not kidding. There will be an increase of people having near fatal incidents in just waiting rooms because there isn't a nurse assistant there to help take your vitals and start moving you through the triage process. Right. I'm a little sensitive to this one because it's tough. as a quasi manager of people, like I know how hard the staff works. I know how tough it is day after day. There's not enough of them. There's not enough appreciation, and this cuts across the entire economy of, I guess, what you would call the middle class, the people who are actually doing the work. So when you hear these stories of people striking for better wages, better benefits, more security, more vacation time, more sick time, anything, don't. If you see an athlete going, you know what, I'm gonna leave that team because I could get more over here. But also, look, I'm leaving Chicago for Miami, taking my talents to Miami.
Right.
Well, who the fuck wouldn't? Right?
Have you ever given to a Chicago winner?
Right, but they're paying me this much more.
That too.
And my wife wants to go there. There's good schools down there too. We've got the private. We already have a summer home down there. We'll live there. Don't ever complain about the workers making what they earn, because the people above them who are earning off of that labor are making so much more money.
Yep.
And so much more.
And don't forget, and this is about, obviously touches a lot of people in the world's most dangerous chat room too, but the other sector of people that are getting fed up are teachers. You know, we've talked about it pretty extensively, the amount of openings there are, what Florida is doing, allowing military people with no education experience to fill in as substitutes because they don't have teachers to be to staff. So these schools, so imagine our education system is woefully understaffed and our healthcare system is woefully understaffed. Can you think of two more important sectors of society as a whole than education and healthcare? And we are clearly, demonstratively fucked in both sectors, having properly trained people to do the jobs that are necessary in those two incredibly important sectors.
And people that want to do the job, because they're not glamorous jobs.
Neither one is. Yes.
Let me tell you what, taking care of your kid for 8 hours a day and trying to teach them something ain't glamorous, motherfucker. Mm-mm. And I dare anybody, and that's why people hate teacher strikes. And I know Aunt Chris will agree with this.
100%.
That's why people
they're paid babysitters. They're seen as paid babysitters. That's why also these parents feel entitled to be a part of the curriculum, because they view teachers as a paid babysitter, and they view it as if you're not going to teach my kid. It's as if a babysitter that was invited into. I can understand if you're going to bring somebody into your home and watch your kids, if you want them to not teach your kids something in the confines of your home while you're employing them as a babysitter, fine. But when you send that child to public school, you don't get a fucking say in what the curriculum is and what they're being taught. And this idea that has permeated that as parents, you're entitled to be involved and influence what your child is taught at a public school is fucking asinine. It's totally fucking asinine.
It's like telling your mechanic how to fix your car.
Yes, no one would ever do such a thing.
You would never do that. Hey, I think that brake line needs to go there. And he gives you a look like, you and your family will die. And you're like, nope, that's the right way to do it. And that's what's happening. Yes, absolutely. There are no subs in CPS. Yeah, and Chris, preach. There aren't enough of the essential people anymore because they got tired of the bullshit, or they died because of COVID, because 1 million plus Americans died of COVID, and they weren't all the upper middle class and C-suite level folks. They were the people that were stuck out there that couldn't sit at home or work from home or take time off or do anything other than face the pandemic. Right. There aren't enough of those people, and pillars of society they might be. Just watch out, folks. You heard it here first, or maybe second, but probably first. Hey, folks, we're gonna Ben, cue up that. You cue up that. Thank you. Oh gosh, folks, we've been talking about some serious shit for a long time. 36 minutes of the show. So let's talk about this. This by no means validates what we've been doing here for the last couple of years. No, not at all here. But there's this news
Comes
story
from
from
Fox News Channel,
a
by the way.
little outlet called Fox News.
When's the last time we used a Fox News Channel story, ladies and gentlemen? Like, you know that this story, like, this doesn't look good for us normally. You know,
Yeah,
'cause
editorial note: the only time I use Fox News is when I feel like I have to press the nuclear launch code. Like you can't deny this story. Where are you on this? I'm not going to do an OAN story. There's no sense in doing that make believe stuff. But here is a Fox News story from a story that came out just this week that the U.S. intelligence has shown that Russia has paid quote, over $300 million to influence foreign political parties. Now, you might go, okay, you're missing out on, you're burying the lead, Brooks. You're missing the foreign part. Right. Right. U.S. intelligence found that Russia spent more than $300 million on foreign political parties, officials, and candidates since 2014. Oh, they're just foreign. They would never interfere. Actually, that's not true because there's a National Defense Initiative, National Defense Institution report that was signed off by all 50 senators that includes all the Republicans that admitted Russia interfered with the 2016 election. Yes, yes, that exists. Google it. Do your own research because it's actually true. And you're not gonna find a story when you Google something like that that has that heft and weight and truth. You're not gonna find a story about frogs with like sabers in their hands or something like that because that's how ridiculous the website is. It's like truth.org that my mama said my friend cousin is my brother wife kind of thing, like .com. That's where I got this story from. No, this is Fox News telling you that Russia has tampered with political events, which are called elections in layman's terms, for at least 8 years to the tune of at least $300 million. Now, in the private chat that I have with both Lockport Joe, whose ass I whooped in our fantasy league, and and Ben Jordan, I noted several books that have pointed out that Russia has spent billions of dollars since the 60s. And I'm talking $6 to $7 billion dollars a year on what is called active measure campaigns. Basically counterintelligence campaigns saying the United States was developing a neutron bomb that was going to blow up the world. And everything from AIDS was a weapon released by the United States. That still permeates in conspiracy theories and 8chan and 4chan and 4glog and 16 mamas, whatever that new website's going to be, in Telegram, all of that theory still exists.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy.
This is just the tip of the iceberg of what we've been talking about. I've a particular interest in the oligarchy right there in Russia, right? And Putin himself allegedly worth $200 billion plus stolen from the people of Russia. Allegedly, totally $300 billion has been stolen from Russia.
Remember,
by oligarchs and Putin.
He did this by when communism fell and they were going to privatize all of the government-owned businesses, right? They held an auction, a lottery, and if you were to win that lottery,
it was a bidding, right? It's basically not a
yeah.
It's a lottery.
They called it a lot, but there was a lottery. There was you had to win a lottery to even put in a bid, right? And he was manipulating and basically calling guys into his office and saying, I will let you win the lottery, but you got to give me half of what?
Like,
all of
it. Profits? No,
all of it.
All of it. And that's how they got in. Literally, plenty of proof. Again, you might take some reading, and that's what people don't like to do, and that's why people quickly brush off this because it's such a vast conspiracy. And this is truly a conspiracy because it involves multiple people, multiple countries, multiple decades and eras. There was one singular plan for Russia in this regard, is to defeat the United States from the inside. Here we are. You go take a look around at who's been elected in other countries lately. We talked about Marie Le Pen from France, who narrowly lost. Sweden just elected a couple of politicians who are far right leaning, in Russia sympathetic in Sweden. Yeah, see, Gigi right there. Yep, Gigi's on top of it. But yes, in Sweden, right next to Russia, like right there, that's not a good. It is the most amazing spy story ever, because when you start, and we're going to talk about Ukraine just a little bit, but when you start realizing where Russia really spent their money, it clearly wasn't on tanks, it wasn't on soldiers and training or equipment. It was on spying, espionage, and setting up all of this.
Right. Like Gigi lives in Topic Thunder. Like she 24 hours a day.
Bless her soul.
Yeah.
For real. All right. Okay. So since somebody tickled my fancy and talked about Russia, because I certainly didn't bring it up. Hey, that music. I'll always play do some Russia stories for that music alone. Another Russian oligarch tied to Vladimir Putin has died.
Well, okay. We should play a game. How did he die? How did this Russian oligarch tied to Putin die?
Like if you had your bingo card out.
Right. Like,
right.
Exactly. What am I going to be able to say bingo this time? Because now this one was found in the Arctic. Yeah, exactly. Fell overboard.
He still fell, but he fell overboard in the Arctic. And hold on, because it gets kind of stupid. The death. And this article does a great job because they do a nice recall of all the other folks who have fallen out of windows at the end. So it's fantastic. The death of a Russian energy executive over the weekend adds to a list of mysterious deaths of high-powered national businessmen since prior to the February 24th invasion of Ukraine. Ivan Peknorin, 39, managing director of the Corporation for the listen to these names. This is one reason you gotta love Russia, right? These names. Corporation for the Development of the Far East and Arctic reportedly fell out of a boat at full speed and died Saturday near Ruski Island in the Sea of Japan in Primorsky Krai, Russia, near Vladivostok, which is a ginormous military base, about 5,800 miles east of Moscow. So we're talking on that other side. Right after the show's over, folks, Google Map how big Russia is. And just imagine how little control they actually have over their country. Because anyway, this gentleman worked under Vladimir Putin, according to the Russian publication. I'm not going to even try to say it, but Pravda. So we've talked about the news agency Pravda. So it's their version of Pravda. Modernizing aviation in Eastern Russia while developing resources in the Arctic in light of heavy sanctions. Pekhorin's last public appearance reportedly occurred in the Eastern Economic Forum held on September 5 to 8 in Vladivostok. The Daily Mail reported that Pekhorin spoke during a session called "Everyone Has Their Own Route: The Logistics of a Changed World." His death follows that of a corporation's former CEO, Igor Nosov, 43, who reportedly died suddenly from a stroke in February.
Suddenly, quote unquote.
On September 1st, Ravil Magnavov, 67, an oil tycoon and former head of Russia's second largest oil company, Lukoil, reportedly fell to his death from a 6-story window of a Moscow hospital. Unconfirmed reports, we don't talk about these things, allege that he was beaten and then thrown out the window. No. The oil tycoon has previously expressed opposition to the invasion of Ukraine. Lukoil, meanwhile, said his death came after a serious illness. When the company you were the CEO of said, after you fell out of a window, then just goes ahead and just whitewashes the whole damn thing
Right.
and says
It
you
was
died
a
of a
serious-
serious illness called
Yeah.
gravity.
Oh, God. This is called gravity. Oh my
You
God.
can't win. Gravity always wins is a famous Incubus lyric. I hope Wack's still listening. But the list goes on, folks. This was just this year. In December of 21, Yegor Provisorin, founded of a nationalist website Sputnik and program, fell out of a residential building in Moscow and died. A similar incident occurred in October that year when a Russian diplomat was found dead after a fall from the window at the Russian embassy in Berlin. We covered that story. Russia Post English reported that Pekarin's aviation prowess included to support. We don't need to hear about that. Ivan's death, blah, blah, blah. We don't need to hear about that. Who else died? We need to actually have like a list. God damn it. We need a
should.
spreadsheet.
I have like a prepared graphic.
Oh, that would be good. I might have to make a spreadsheet because I'm getting really
If you
good
give me the data, the graphic. It's just compiling the data that would be hard.
I'm good at it. Turns out I'm actually good at analyzing data. So that could happen actually. We could have
And I'm good at
spreadsheets and
creating
pie
graphics,
charts and
so-
graphs. We could have Venn diagrams of all these dead Russian CEOs, and this could be good.
It'll
All
be
right.
like that fucking Always Sunny meme.
Yes. So we're going to move on because
Putin body count. That's it. That's what it will be.
Putin. It sounds like a good band, actually. I'd listen to it. But hey, these Russian guys aren't that bad. It can't be. It's all glory in Ukraine, right? They're going and they're winning, right? Then why would the gentleman whose nickname is Putin's chef be visiting prisoners across penitentiaries all over Russia, recruiting stormtroopers?
Whoa.
That is his words. Now we're going back to this is the Ukraine version of Pravda, which actually we've used on the show before. But it's really nice because the way they break down the story, you don't actually have to watch the video because the guy's speaking in Russian. I don't know that anybody speaks Russian on the show. I don't. Ben?
No, definitely not. I barely speak English.
Net. The video of oligarch Yevgeny Prigozhin, who is close to Vladimir Putin and organized so-called Wagner private military company. We've talked about them before. They're the Blackwater, the Russian version of Blackwater, which they're probably the same thing, run by the same people, funded by the same people. Anyway,
probably
that funded this. Personally encouraged Russian prisoners to go to war in Ukraine. It's been published online. The details on a video which has appeared in Mercenaries public channels as well. A man that resembles Prigozhin speaks before prisoners in a Russian penitentiary establishment. Where and when his video is recorded is unknown. The man in the video in particular says he needs only stormtroopers. Quote, I have planes of different types in PMC. I have MLRs. MLRSs, I have tanks, I have everything for a successful attack. After I tell you everything, there will be an interview. He went on to say, there will be dead. Bodies are taken to the place you indicate in your will. Everyone is buried on alleys of heroes where such exist. They don't exist in Russia. They also very interestingly told these prisoners in penitentiaries in Russia this. You will go home only after a half a year passes by receiving a pardon. Those who want to stay with us will stay with us. Therefore, there is no chance you are coming back here.
Right.
You're offering prisoners of all types pardons after 6 months of service?
Of military service, yeah.
We call that fodder. We call that catching bullets.
Yeah, we need you to go to the front lines and die.
Basically, or rape and murder and pillage, which basically the Russian army has been doing across Ukraine since the beginning on February 24th. All right. We might not talk about Russia again, but I want to get to Ben on this one. This is scratching Ben's itch right here.
Uh-oh.
From Amsterdam, a crackdown on empty Amsterdam homes and offices with a higher landlord fine. Amsterdam is cracking down on landlords who leave their homes empty, almost doubling penalties for not reporting the building vacant. The city said in a press release that the experimental policy is likely to run from December of this year until the start of 2025 if it is passed as expected by a council vote. Currently, homeowners are obliged to register with the city if their building is empty for more than 6 months. Under 2016 legislation, the council has powers to order landlords and offices and homes to take a tenant if a building is empty for more than 12 months under the threat of a €7,500 penalty. The city, so basically, they can say, don't leave that building empty. Here's a fine. Move a person in there. Let them rent. It gets even better. And welcome to a socialist government, comrade.
Yeah.
The new rules will mean that people who do not report their home or office vacant for 6 months face a fine of $4,500 for private homes and $9,000 for professional renters, which has been one of your things right there. Yep. Professional renters. Zita Pellis, deputy mayor charged with housing, said it was important to stimulate owners to rent out their property right now. Quote, there is a high housing shortage in our city, she said in a press statement. We have too few homes and many are unnecessarily vacant. I'm pleased that we are now able to tackle this better. In this day and age, it is impossible to understand why homes would be empty. So we are going to ensure that homes are there again to be lived in. Think about that, Ben. Look at that. Government working for the people, right? Thank you.
Bravo.
Thank
I mean,
you.
this is, but it works because this is where in Amsterdam, right? It works there because Amsterdam is relatively small, right? And this is a similar problem that we are having and are going to only have more of here in this country. Do you see any way, shape, or form, Democrat, Republican controlled, who gives a shit, any controlled Democrat or Republican government in this country instituting something like that? No fucking way. There is a 0% chance that anything remotely like this will be put in place where because it would be the Ted Cruzes of the world would cry that this is anti, capitalism.
It's socialism. You're taking away the ability to make a living and profits and all this stuff. And all you're really trying to do is get people in homes that are empty anyway.
Yeah. Well, those people that own multiple homes and live in them part of the time, what those people, even rich people, do is they've realized that they can rent those places out.
Airbnb, whatever they want to do, right? They can monetize it.
There are huge tax write-offs. You only have to rent your place out for something like 7 days a year for it to be able to be considered a rental property. And so, and this comes from like the Augusta area for the Masters tournament, right? Because the people of Augusta, for 1 week a year, they rent out they all leave town, and then everybody Airbnbs essentially their house in Augusta, right? So those people were like, I should get a tax write-off for that. Well, they said, okay, everyone should get it. So if it's a very limited number that you even have to rent out your property for it to be considered a rental property, and then you get tax write-offs and considerations for that.
I mean, I'm all for like cheating the system, or like if you find a way to make it work for you. I'm all for that. I'm also all for it when they catch that loophole, closing it like a badass motherfucker and saying, yeah, okay, congratulations, you had a year or so. I think I used the F word a lot in this show, actually. I think, but I'm all for that loophole being closed once it's found out. And maybe if it's egregious, maybe the penalty should. But God bless it. Why is it always about something stupid like a house? Like unhomed and unhoused people is a terrible. It is an endemic situation to this country, and we have too many of them. whatever gets you
It's
going
been
about
said
this.
multiple times, but there
Right.
are more than enough empty homes in this country to house all of the homeless people in this country.
Yeah, but somebody owns those homes. What are they paying my money? Blah, blah. Again, you're thinking now you're defending corporations.
Right.
You're just
You gotta
defending.
change. We gotta change our thinking. It's what we gotta do. I know it's hard. It's entrenched in us, right? And if you believe in capitalism and you have been brought up that capitalism is the way to go and that the boss is always right, and if you are the boss, then you get to make the rules, and that it has just been systemic in this country from the very beginning that the wealthy, the people that have the jobs to offer, they are the powerful ones, and you just do whatever they say, and oh, we can't pay people more because they'll just pass the cost along to the customers. That is a fucking myth. That it's only done because they can do it, and B, it is a scare tactic because what they can do is make a little bit less profit and pay their fucking employees more while still making a gargantuan profit. They changed the narrative, and what we got to do, and what we've been doing here for how many episodes now? I don't know.
I think this is 87.
87 motherfucking episodes of this shit, if not longer. And we've been trying to. You got to change the mindset. You got to look at this thing from a different perspective. You got to look at it from again. If you haven't seen it, there's a kids movie called Ants, and it is a wonderful metaphor made in a kids movie for why for labor showing solidarity and being more powerful than the people that control them and control their jobs. Now it's God, if we just could get more people on board, but we just got to change the mindset. When you hear someone talking about it and saying, "Oh, those goddamn teachers always want more money," yeah, you speak up and defend those teachers and say, "Yeah, they goddamn deserve more money." Oh, these nurses they're just gonna let people die. Well, no, they don't want to, but they're gonna die if they don't get some goddamn help. You got to defend these people when it comes time to defend.
Yeah, there's a lot of empathy in the world's most dangerous chat room. It's almost antithetical the way that works, but that's why it's the world's most dangerous chat room, because you can never be sure which way it's going to go. But I love the empathy in there. And yes, and we've talked about this. So I promised you a really cool story about water, and we're approaching the 8 o'clock hour, or approaching 1 hour in, and
the witching hour.
I need to get to the story before we get to maybe something else. And
Is
maybe
this ELE, or are we gonna die?
I don't think we actually have an ELE for this week,
all right,
to be
fair
honest
enough.
with you.
Good. I just wanted to make sure that with water, you never know. It could
You never know.
definitely. It could
Well,
definitely be
okay, well, okay, so okay, maybe hold off, keep that queued up, because let's see how you think about this. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is from the University of Cambridge. You think they would probably know what they're doing. Headline: Water can be liquid, gas, or ice, right? Think again. Scientists at the University of Cambridge have discovered that water in a one molecule layer acts like neither a liquid nor a solid, and then it becomes highly conductive at high pressures.
What? I don't even know what that means. Help me out here.
The story does a jolly good job of doing that. Much is known about how bulk water behaves. It expands when it freezes. It has a high boiling point, but then water is compressed to the nanoscale. Its properties change dramatically. By developing a new way to predict this unusual behavior with unprecedented accuracy, the researchers have detected several new phases of water at the molecular level. Water trapped between membranes or in a tiny nanoscale cavity is common. It can be found in everything from membranes in our body to geological formations. But this nano-confined water behaves very differently from the water we drink. Until now, the challenges of experimentally characterizing the phases of water on the nanoscale have prevented, easy for me to say, it's a good beer, have prevented a full understanding of its behavior. But in a paper published by the Journal of Nature, the Cambridge-led team discovered how They have used advances in computational approaches to. Okay, hold on. I lost my good spot here.
I feel like they're gonna start selling nano confined water. It's gonna be
I
like
like
the
that
new
word,
thing,
right?
right?
Yep.
Like there's like alkaline water. That's a thing. It's there's like a caffeinated water, and now there's nano confined water. Get your bottle of nano confined water at your favorite grocery store or gas station.
So they actually explain what you're just talking about. So they used a combination of computational approaches to enable the first principle level investigation of single layer water. So I read the whole thing. Kind of what they basically did is smushed water down to each molecule being in one plane, and that's it. Like one molecule of water thin. That's how nano we're talking about. Researchers found that water, which is confined into a one molecule thick layer, goes through several phases, including a hexatic phase and a superionic phase. In the hexatic phase, the water
Super ionic. They're also gonna sell super ionic water.
and get you superionic water right now. In the hexatic phase, the water acts as neither a liquid nor a solid, but something in between. In the superionic phase, which occurs at high pressures, the water becomes highly conductive, propelling protons quickly through ice in a way that resembles the flow of electrons in a conductor.
Whoa.
What does this mean? Yeah, I don't know. But I can imagine, like, if you're able to use water as a conductive substance, then you kind of don't need metal then.
Yeah.
And if you can figure out a way to squish water down to the one molecule level, get water is like one oxygen atom and two hydrogen atoms fused together.
Right.
If you can get those guys in one layer, and then you're going to tell me that conducts electricity. Okay, let's go, man. Let's go. Why does it all of a sudden in that form conduct electricity? Why is it conductive like that?
Who knows? That's fucking crazy.
We're
gonna find out now. Now that we know, we're gonna look into it more and find out for fucking sure.
This quote stands out, and for all the right reasons for Topic Thunder. The existence of the super ionic phase at easily accessible conditions is peculiar, as this phase is generally found in extreme conditions like the core of Uranus and Neptune.
Jesus.
One way to visualize this phase is that the oxygen atoms form a solid lattice, and the protons flow like liquid through the lattice, like kids running through a maze.
Jesus.
It is insane that
that is fascinating.
2022, and we're like, wait, water does what now? Water
conducts electricity.
Wait, it does what now? When you get it down to this one particular formation, it's like, yeah, well, let's do this. When it doesn't do that thing in other formations.
By the way, yeah, Aunt Chris is right. Yeah,
the planet Uranus. Uranus is not Uranus, but it could be if you wanted to stress the syllables differently. I have actually a public service announcement to make for all the residents of Illinois. Okay. It's not a joke. It's not a trick, but there are less than 2 weeks left to file a claim in the Illinois Google class action lawsuit settlement, ladies and gentlemen. If you were one of the people who signed up for that Facebook one, you might have gotten a pretty hefty check, about $400. This story is from NBCChicago.com, so it's not a ruse, it's an official thing. And actually, if you feel like your pictures were used by Google between the year, they give actually specific dates. Hey, if any time between May 1st, 2015 and April 25th of this year, you appeared in a photograph in Google Photos, If you're an Illinois resident, you will be entitled to a claim. So check it out. Google yourselves some. I think I just literally put in Google Illinois lawsuit, and I found the NBC website and I signed up. So you can.
So how would you even know? How could you go back and know if your images appeared at that
You can
time?
Google yourself. Google, everybody, check it out. Go to Google Photos and put your name in, and probably in some sort of because of how much data they were collecting, they didn't care. Like the spigot was open, right? The faucet was like full blast. Like they didn't care what they were collecting. They were just collecting,
Right?
which they shouldn't have been doing, assholes. All right, one more story before I get to some really cute animal shit, and we get to the I know what you're waiting for.
Yes.
Burials unearthed in Poland open the casket on the secret lives of vampires.
See, this almost could have been a lightning
Ellie?
round headline
This could
itself.
have been Ellie too, by the way.
Yeah, it also could have been Ellie, which, by the way, which we can go ahead and just hit it. Yeah.
What people actually did to prevent the dead from rising again was very different than what Hollywood would have you think. And the picture's perfect, folks, because what you have there is somebody buried with a ginormously sharp, at the time, knife right over their neck. So in the event they rose from their grave, their neck would be severed, their neck would be cut, and they would die, assuming that was a vampire. They literally did not want that particular person to walk undead.
Yeah, they were that serious.
They were that worried about it. They were legit like, oh shit, what do you think about Peter? Man, we should put that scythe right over his throat when we bury him, because I don't know, man. I think that guy could be a vampire.
It's also Gigi says it's a female.
What? Actually, it's important. How do you know, Gigi? How do you know it's a female? I'm trying to read. She sent me a different story from the Washington Post, which puts a limit on the stories that you can look at. So I had to go to the Smithsonian to find the story. And if she's a female, then I apologize.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yep. Right here. Check it out. Polson's work describes one female body discovered with a sickle across her pelvis, a rock on her neck, and a coin in her mouth.
That'll do it.
4 other bodies were found with sickles strewn across their throats. While Polson said in one study that sickles have been discovered in excavations in other countries like Slovakia before, burials with sickles across the throat are rare during this period. He says the practice could corroborate with historical knowledge of folk tales and beliefs about creatures that rise from the dead to commit evil deeds and bring misfortune to the living.
Yes. That's how concerned that they were about that.
Biz out of nowhere, by the way.
Yeah, right. And that's all you the mic drop from Biz right then and there. Okay, so more stories before we get to the lightning round. No, I guess I will make this quick, folks. This story was sent in. It's a nice segue. This was sent in by our very own Ryan Hansen. It's from the Daily Beast. The headline is Man Gets Mauled by Zoo Lion While Trying to Steal Her Cubs.
Yes, you get what you get, motherfucker.
Accra Zoo officials in Ghana are in shock after a man attempted to climb into a lion enclosure in an alleged attempt to steal a pair of lion cubs, but got ripped apart by the lioness instead. The middle-aged man scaled 2 fences, one 10 feet tall and the other 20 feet tall. That's a lot of work just to get mauled by a tiger. That's 30 feet of fence that you just roped yourself over just to get roared.
Just to literally get destroyed by a fucking tiger.
Climbed those fences to approach the family of big cats, according to the BBC. Police are currently investigating the incident. Officials suspect the man may have been after the cubs due to a rare recessive trait that they both have that give them white coats. That color is exceedingly rare in the wild, making the pair just 2 out of a dozen or so lions that exist in the world.
There you go. That's why he was doing it.
He didn't think that one through, did he?
Nope.
just to
Sure
give you an
did.
idea of what he may have run into or something kind of maybe somewhat adjacent. Folks, wild animals are called wild animals for a reason. And unless they're a dog or a cat or maybe a parakeet, you should probably keep your distance, as this next video might show you.
On.
Oh yeah.
Oh, dude, this is
Talk about being this. Just
all right, hold on.
stay away from the orangutan.
Yeah, orangutans are like fucking hippos, man. They're like,
Yeah,
just don't fuck with them.
Don't.
Don't.
You don't
It's
understand.
not worth it. Yeah. Get over here. Get over here.
Don't give him your hand.
Oh no. Nope. Oh, I got your leg now. What are you gonna do?
It's
What are you
over.
gonna do,
Jiu-jitsu.
human? You're
He just pushed that dude away with one hand, with one arm. He pushed that grown man away.
Look at that. That guy can't get out of that. That's strong as fuck.
It'll break
Yeah,
that man's leg.
panicking.
I honestly,
Snatched his ass.
I wouldn't be surprised if that orangutan could break that man's femur just by pulling him
I bet
against
it
that
could,
fence
yes.
like that.
100%. I bet that was painful as fuck. I bet he's lucky that his leg didn't fucking snap.
We don't know that he did because the end of the video, and I didn't follow up on that. So maybe we'll follow up on it.
Yeah.
All right. So there used to be a segment on the old David Letterman late night show called Stupid Human Tricks.
Right.
Let's have a segment on our show called Cool Human Tricks, because this one is pretty damn cool.
Let's see here. All right, here you go. Check this out.
This man is blind.
Oh. By the way, props to him for doing it without like elbow pads or a helmet.
Nailed it. Blind.
That's incredible.
Folks, I'd still be picking myself up off the ground.
Yeah, dude, yeah. No way. Yeah, I can't. I'm with Willie Whack. I can't do that, and I can fucking see.
Yeah, right.
I would bust my shit so bad. Like it would almost. I don't like being in that kind of pain. I'm not like a jackass kind of guy. But it would be. I would probably be funny to watch me like hurt myself. But
yes,
like, I can't do that.
Professional opinion. Yeah, the answer is yes.
Yeah.
And then, ladies and gentlemen, I teased Ben with this one. I told him not to look at this video. But if you had to close your eyes and guess the noise and guess the creature that made this noise, you never would. I'm not expecting you to close your eyes.
I could play the video. I think I could play the audio without the video.
Oh, that'd be cool.
I guess.
All right.
Can you hear this?
If you can hear it, let's. What animal's making that noise?
Whatever you want to get.
In the chat room. One more time. Jock Davis. Pelican Pete. Bird is a good guess. It's not just MC-17.
Yeah. All right. So,
ladies and gentlemen,
let's reveal. Let me get back to the beginning. This is actually pretty fucking cute. Not gonna lie. Boom. How about baby panda? Cuteness overload.
Look at that thing. He's like, what's up? What are you doing with my butt?
Again, if it stayed that size, I'd have 12 of them in my house.
Oh, yeah. Unfortunately, they get bigger and they'll rip your face off.
Yeah, because pandas like they look like they're like, oh, it's a panda.
Oh, yeah, all cute. Like, "Rawr!"
I'm still a fucking bear, asshole.
Thank God, like Terry Bors, the legendary Terry Bors, would always revel in the stories of like the person who loved a monkey and took a monkey in, and then a monkey rips their face off. Like
Yeah.
Terry Bors loved it. I love it, and I love Terry Bors, ladies and gentlemen.
Indeed.
Hey,
yeah.
what is that in the background? Is there something that
Off in the distance.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, it's been almost 2 weeks. It's the lightning round right here on Topic Thunder, ladies and gentlemen, the #1 segment on the show, folks. And I already see the lightning bolts lighting up the world's most dangerous chat room. That's the Thunderdome. That's you. And folks, if you're new to the show, we appreciate you joining in, whether on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, whatever interplanetary broadcast you might be catching. Here are the rules. 3 stories enter the Thunderdome. 1 gets read, ladies and gentlemen, and that 1 is chosen by you, the people.
Oh shit! I pointed the wrong way.
Yeah, I go left. So yeah, I remember the pro wrestling thing. Left is always first. So unless you're working in Japan and Mexico, then all bets are off. Good luck. There are no rules.
There are no rules.
Just be ready. Be ready to bump and bleed. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, with no more dilly-dally, let's get right to it. Headline number 1. Botched cosmetic tattoo done on a budget leaves a Thai woman with 4 eyebrows. Headline number 2, a Southwest pilot threatened to turn the plane around and go home if passengers didn't stop airdropping nudes to each other.
If that doesn't win, I hate all of you.
Captain speaking. We're currently flying over Cincinnati right now, heading into the wind at about 220 knots. And if you guys don't stop dropping nudes on your files, we're going to go back to Copixie.
Anyway. Headline number 3. Trump supporter in a clown wig arrested at a Dairy Queen after threatening to kill all the Democrats.
Gigi didn't even
Didn't need to hear the third one.
one.
That's when you know your candidate. So she double dog story 2.
Yeah, just in case we weren't
Never
sure she was voting.
Yeah. Thank you, Gigi, for making it very clear. We do actually need this. All right, as votes start to pour in here, I think Gigi's already voted. We're gonna go over the headlines maybe one more time here and just make sure everybody has enough time to computate these things. So headline number 1. Botched cosmetic tattoo done on a budget leaves a Thai woman with 4 eyebrows.
By the way, Biz, high Elton nudes. By the way, just guess story number.
Gigi's voting early and voting often is a Chicago tradition, ladies and gentlemen. Headline number 2, a Southwest pilot threatened to turn the plane around and go home if passengers didn't stop airdropping nudes to each other. And headline number 3, who cares? No, headline number 3, Trump supporter in a clown wig arrested at a Dairy Queen after threatening to kill all the Democrats. That is
here we go.
As your
Ryan,
lightning round and the remix.
Ryan Hansen, my Jordan already in. Permanent woe face, mile high sexting, and breakup story from Mar-Lago.
Let's see.
Number 2 was on the local news. WGN. Number two. There are a couple votes for number 3. Respect Chuck Davis and Courtney stepping out and not being, you're not being sheep. But number 2 is amazing.
I get 2 votes over there.
Number 2.
That's
2 votes for number 2.
Box is checking in, and we appreciate the vote. Thanks for
thank you, Box.
Thank you, Box. Oh,
and Chris with number 2 is number 2 is running away with this thing. It's not a landslide. Exactly. I respect number 3.
But here comes
in any other week it may win.
Numero dos. You just tried different languages next. You're running out of ways to say number 2, Gigi.
Man.
Yeah, I think that what I think that kind of went as expected. Almost.
All right, you need to send me because is there a picture of said?
I am working on this as we speak, sir. But yeah, give me a second. But
this is the one where it takes a little bit of time because he doesn't send it to me ahead of time. So
absolutely not. I keep the lightning room super secret for obviously good reasons. Because when Ben laughs, I think everybody laughs, and I think I've done a good job. So there it is, ladies and gentlemen. A Southwest pilot threatened to turn the plane around and go home if passengers didn't stop sending nudes to each other. A viral TikTok captured a pilot threatening to not fly passengers if they didn't stop dropping air nudes. In the clip, the pilot told passengers to
quit sending nude, naked pictures, or vacation would be ruined.
Cyber flashing isn't a new problem, and legislators are working on to criminalize the act. I don't even know what this is going on about. A Southwest Airlines pilot piloting a plane, which is what he should do, in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico, threatened to turn the plane around and involve security if a passenger didn't stop sending unsolicited airdropped nudes. On August 25th, a TikTok chronicling the incident was uploaded by the user and has since been viewed by 2 million people.
Damn it. Leave it.
So here's the deal. The pilot said over the intercom. If you can get,
we have the
video, Ben. We have the sources.
Of course we do. Hold on. You just got to give me a second here. But let's see. TikTok is not really conducive to helping me out.
It's not friendly.
No, not at all.
So here's the deal. This continues while we're on the ground. I'm gonna have to pull back to the gate. Everybody's gonna have to get off. We're gonna have to get security involved, and it's vacation is gonna be ruined. So you folks, whatever that airdrop thing is, quit sending naked pictures. Let's get yourself to Cabo. So here's the deal. This continues while we're on the ground. I'm gonna have to pull back to the gate. Everybody's gonna have to get off. We're gonna have to get security involved, and it's vacation is gonna be ruined. So you folks, whatever that airdrop thing is, quit sending naked pictures. Let's get yourself to Cabo.
whatever that. It's about a grizzled veteran who he probably flew in like.
What even is this thing? Am I out of step? What is this that is going on?
Okay,
I'm
so
sure the
all
story
right, so
describes it, right?
According to Yahoo News, cyber flashing, the practice of sending unsolicited and explicit photos to nearby strangers, is not a new problem. It in a 2017 Pew Research Center report, 53% of women aged 18 to 29 reported having been sent an unsolicited obscene image.
I know what airdropping is. I knew that, but it never occurred to me until this very moment that creeps would just airdrop nudes to hot chicks around them that had their airdrop open. I swear to you, it never occurred to me that would be a thing until right now.
You know,
but that I understand, like, there are definitely shitty, dudes out there that are like, oh, let me send this chick a picture of my dick. She'll love it. She'll definitely want to fuck me then.
Absolutely. And you know what cell phone, mobile device OS doesn't have this problem? Android. Just saying, there's no way in Android to send somebody an unsolicited anything unless you know, maybe I'm just an Android fan, which I am.
Yeah. I'm still, my daughter wanted to ask me if I would ever change from iPhone, and I told her no.
Yeah, but they Ryan Hansen, to your point, like, they probably make that so difficult and so like hard to find in the settings that, like,
it's just no, it's not. I mean, it's easy to turn on and off. It's just a flip of a switch, but it's probably defaulted on, or people turn it on and forget to turn it off. It's not something that people leave open. I mean, most anybody that has an iPhone doesn't leave their AirDrop open. It's just you happen to catch someone. I guess if you're like doing on public transportation often, I can see how that would happen.
Whatever that airdrop thing is, quit sending naked pictures and let's get yourself to Cabo.
That's just that gentleman should get an applause, and that should be on his tombstone, to be honest with you.
Quit sending naked pictures and let's get yourself to Cabo.
Right. This was probably a bunch of drunk people sharing news. But how does it get to the pilot? How does the pilot even hear about it? How does that even, did somebody complain?
Oh, well, if he's airdropping, I would imagine you just airdrop to everybody around you. You could see who, I don't know.
No, you can particularly airdrop to certain people, because it'll say, there's a little icon that says like so-and-so's airdrop, and you can just airdrop.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know how that works. So maybe there's if there isn't a mass send, I don't know. Maybe it was just a surly. Maybe they broke up on their way to Cabo. And now he's just like, you know what? To hell with you. Here are pictures of something you've already seen a million times.
That is a story that is more headline than substance,
kind of sort of.
right?
But that's what
I
we
think
do.
But that's what we do here. That's what the lightning round is. It's all
You
about the
never know.
headline.
You never know.
And that may justify Chuck and Courtney's vote for number 3.
It may, because there may have been more substance in that one. Maybe. Probably not, though.
Hey, listen, I want because we have a minute 27 before this song ends. And we
Right
gotta
on.
get the
Here we
post
go.
up. If you haven't seen it yet, Topic Thunder, Nameless Retro Wrestling Show, crossover event. We watched King of the Ring 1993 and had a blast reviewing it. This week we have our buddy Steve Stone back, and we are watching the first NWO pay-per-view. NWO sold out 1997. It was atrocious. I've got all kinds of thoughts. If you're interested in wrestling, come on over. We're recording tomorrow night around 8 o'clock. Michael V, Steve Stone, and myself talking wrestling.
Check them out on the Nameless Retro Wrestling Show. And this has been Topic Thunder. So we appreciate you guys joining along on board the venerated and well-defended USS Rapapa. So, folks, we're going to be back on Monday with another show and hopefully tickling your interest. But in the meantime,